Okay. Good morning, everybody. Glad to see everybody got in. We're talking about the ethics of self-care today, part one. And I'm going to let our presenter introduce herself. So take it away, Chrissy.
Well, thank you, Miss Peggy. Good morning. It's actually morning in Baltimore. I don't know where y'all are, but I'm actually Zooming you guys from a week-long training in beautiful Baltimore. Okay, we're in Inner Harbor, so it's actually really pretty. So I know Baltimore's a little shaky in parts, but my name is Dr. Chrissy Whiting Madison. I am thrilled to be here. A lot of people that you've ever heard me speak before, I'm the big positive psychology happiness queen that you have probably heard about. I published 2 books on the topic of how to be happier, numerous articles. I have presented internationally on the topic of how to be happier. Definitely my first love is talking to people on how to lead a more positive life. So you're going to feel a lot of that flavor in what we're going to learn over the next 30 days. I think you guys are really going to love this. This is one of my personal projects, which is the marriage and integration of positive psychology into self-care, because I think we have a lot of misconceptions over what self-care should look like. And also as well, just I think part of self-care is being happier, right? And it's just these two are really, really linked. And I think a lot of people are missing that. You know, a lot of people think, well, if I take a bubble bath every week, I am doing self-care. And we're going to talk about how like that's really not exactly how it works, at least from a psychological perspective. A little bit about my background. I'm a Pennsylvania native. I got my undergrad in psychology from St. Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Got my master's in rehabilitation counseling from Langston University, Tulsa, and my doctorate in rehab from the University of Arkansas, Fayetteville. I currently wear a lot of hats, but my 2 biggest ones, I am an online educator with Rogers State University in Claremore, Oklahoma, and Langston University, Tulsa. But I'm also the program director of a psychosocial rehabilitation clubhouse in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania called the Sally and Howard Live In Clubhouse, where we incorporate positivity every day into our healing model. So I live it, I work it, and I teach it. So when I occasionally sleep, you might wonder if that happens. It is delightful, but I do like to stay busy and spread the world about happiness as much as possible. So just a little bit about me. I'm sure you're going to hear more about me as we progress, because I think the easiest way to understand some of the concepts that we're going to discuss will be through a lot of examples of my own life. So just a few housekeeping things. Please keep your cell phone handy. I do have some online interaction with Pull Everywhere. So if you do not, I just saw Andrew reach behind him and grab his phone. Yes, grab your phone. Thank you. I also do prefer if you keep your camera on and even your mic on. I'm super engaging with people. I like to see you. If I see you laugh, I know I'm funny. If I see you go, what? I know maybe I should strike that joke from my repertoire moving forward. So I would love to see your faces. Also, like I said, if your mic is off, that would be fantastic. I want you to talk. I want you to engage with me. I'm super approachable, I promise. And then if you have questions, feel free to say, hey, Dr. Chrissy, wait a minute, I don't understand what you're saying here. Or could you tell us more about that? Tell me more about your cat. Somebody be like, yes, let's talk about my cats. Crazy cat lady. If there's any other, throw it in the chat box. We always need to find each other. All right. So probably enough about me. That was a quickly spoken little blur, but I know you guys did not come to this workshop for the Dr. Chrissy Whiting Madison memoir. You came to learn about positivity and self-care and create a model. I don't know if your absolutely amazing, lovely facilitators told you, but I also hope you have a notepad, pen and paper handy. I have my own because I always, we always need a review, right, on how to do this better. So I have mine with me. You are going to leave these 3 days with a super concrete plan. I usually keep mine tacked on the little cork board behind my computer at work, wherever that you have it on your phone, somewhere where you're going to look at it and reference it. You are going to leave today with a plan that is not only going to improve your life, but it's going to improve the lives of the people that you serve. And that's a really important part of it, because as y'all probably know as practitioners in the field, You already know that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot serve unless you are taking care of yourself. You just can't. We all want to think we can. We all want to think we're super people. And let me be real, CRCs are superheroes in every way of the form. We just don't have capes. We need capes. We totally need capes. But keeping in mind, you are superheroes, but you need to take care of yourself first. And I already see something in the chat, so let me check that out. No worries, Connie. Hopefully you can join us as soon as you can. If I can do anything to help, let me know, or reach out to Robin or Peggy. All right, guys. So I know we only have about an hour left already today. I want to jump in. Lots of interaction, lots to talk about, and lots for you guys to get engaged with too. So yay, let's jump in. So first of all, ethics. I know you guys are here for CEUs. I know you're not here to see my crazy redheaded self, but hopefully we'll have some fun together too, and also earn those CRC ethics CEUs that we all desperately need every couple years. So I'm going to read a lot to you. Not that I think you guys can't read, but I'm going to read along with you. And like I said, feel free to chime in and ask questions. So as many rehab professionals unfortunately figured out, one can simply not pour from an empty cup. Guys, I'm going to tell you, this is a struggle for me sometimes too. Sometimes I actually have to sit and stop myself and think to myself, is there literal dust coming out of my cup right now? Am I serving my clients? Because I do direct a clubhouse. Am I doing the best I can for my students? Am I doing the best for people that are coming to my workshops? Or is it time for me to refill my cup? And guys, sometimes I need to revisit this stuff too. It's really important. I hope that the lovely ladies do give you copies of these so that you can use these moving forward to revisit and also to engage with. Today, tomorrow, and the next day, we're going to focus on Section D of the CRCC Code of Ethics. We're going to explore the importance of professional responsibility, particularly Section D3, which emphasizes impairment. Make no mistake, y'all, not taking care of yourself is impairment. If you're a parent in the room, you all know we're not our best parental unit selves when we're really tired after a day of work, right? We know that we're good parents on Saturday afternoons when we've had adequate sleep. Impairment is a big part of the puzzle. In other words, we're going to look at ways that we can keep our mindset positive and happy, allowing us to be the best possible helpers that we know we can be. Guys, like I said, CRCs are rock stars and superheroes. We know we're in the field because we're passionate and because we're good at it, right? This workshop is going to take a fresh look at self-care. Again, guys, we're not going to be talking about bubble baths, except to give it as an example of that might work for you, that might not work for Robin, that might work for Andrew, that might, we're going to figure out what really works for us while exploring the tenets of positive psychology. It's going to make it very personal and very unique. You're going to find that my plan is not going to work for you, and your plan is likely not going to work for me. We try to put self-care into these neat little jars, but it really doesn't work that way. Instead, it's going to be very unique and very tailored to us. It's going to refresh our worlds with a flood of sunshine and happiness at each step as we embark on a journey over the next 3 days to learn to love ourselves a little more. Okay, so guys, the first thing we're going to look at and explore is this us? Is this me? Am I struggling with self-care? Are you sitting here right now on Zoom in front of your desktop, your laptop, or your phone and thinking, gosh, when she just said that when I'm pouring my cup is dust coming out, that really resonated with me. It's funny. I think we're all exactly where we need to be for a reason. Maybe we signed up for this workshop because we need ethics CEUs for our CRC. Or maybe we're here for a bigger reason. Maybe we know that this is something that we're failing at. Maybe we really try to do self-care, but we're missing the mark. Or you're thinking to yourself, it doesn't work. That nice long walk in the woods didn't really work for me. And maybe I hope it is you. I hope that you're coming today to get something out of this. And if not for you, I hope you can introduce these tenets to people that you care about. Maybe your spouse really struggles with self-care and they're not taking care of yourself. They seem tired, or your children, or your brother, your sister, your best friend. This is definitely for everyone and very easy to individualize or tailor to each individual person. So we're going to look at some things today, namely compassion fatigue, burnout, some of the things that you might have heard about, but maybe not in this particular context. And then the next 2 days, we're going to really work on developing that plan that I promised. But first, we need to figure out where we are actually falling on the spectrum. You have to diagnose something before you can heal it, right? And, I ask the people we work for are all diagnosed with some type of disability. We know that it has to be a good, correct diagnosis to treat it correctly, right? We need the right diagnosis to make the right accommodations for them to return to work. We need to know what's truly going on in order to make an impact. So I hope we all have that totally clear. We're going to work on today a correct diagnosis of ourselves. Like I said, myself included, I actually brought my notepad and my pen because guys, every time I teach this, I refresher myself with it and I tweak a little bit to make it even more me. And you're probably looking at me and saying, she is so bubbly, she doesn't need this. But believe me, this is one of the things I do to be me. So the first thing we're going to look at is compassion fatigue, and let me minimize my camera so I can actually see the whole thing. So this is one of my favorite quotes. It's by C. Figley. It's a newer quote, 1995. Okay, I say that, but I know 1995 is probably a little longer ago than I want to own. So it goes like this: we have not been directly exposed to the trauma scene, but we hear the story told with such intensity, or we hear similar stories so often, or we have the gift and curse of extreme empathy and we suffer. We feel the feelings of our clients. We experience their fears. We dream their dreams. Eventually, we lose a certain spark of optimism, humor, and hope. We aren't sick, but we aren't ourselves. Now, not sure if any of you have ever heard this quote by Figley. Anybody, show hands, anybody ever heard this quote? Okay, different show of hands. Who felt that quote? Right? It resonates. Over the years, I've been in the helping field. Oh my gosh, when I start doing the math, I actually start to feel really old. So I don't really want to do that. But I've been in the helping field since 1997. So definitely a hot minute. And there are stories that I've been told that will probably haunt me for the rest of my life. That I think of them and I feel tears spring up in my eyes. I feel a little nausea to my tummy. Things that you never will forget, because we're in this field because we love people and we want to help and we genuinely care so big and so much. But by doing so, it does open us up to experiencing, their dreams, their feelings, all the things that I just talked about. And we aren't sick and we aren't necessarily tired, but we know that sometimes we're just not ourselves anymore. That almost like if I hear one more story, I don't know if I can internalize another story. And I can give you guys examples, but I know you all have your gambit of your own. I know one for me that I probably heard 15 years ago was a story a little girl told me about seeing her big brother kill himself, take his life, complete suicide. She actually watched the experience and told it to me with such detail. And it's like, I'll never forget hearing this little voice tell this traumatic story and how it will affect me. And after she even told me the story and, opened up to me, which is, great and healing and therapeutic and all the good things. But guys, we wear this hat where we are asked to take in so much of other people's trauma that it's exhausting. And we don't want to be cold. We don't want to be dismissive. But at the same time, we need to figure out that balance for ourselves, or where we can take care of ourselves to be able to hear those stories. And yes, internalize those stories. And yes, some of them likely to haunt us for a very long time, if not forever. At the same time, it's really important for us to know how to make ourselves strong enough to be able to bounce back from those experiences. So guys, Figley, if you are a PhD or just a really, really big geeky person who loves to read scientific literature and do her own research or do his own research or do their own research, if you'll know, Figley is like one of my biggest research crushes. Absolute brilliance right there. But he talks about things like vicarious traumatization or a secondary traumatization, meaning that although we didn't experience the trauma ourselves, we still suffer from the consequence of trauma. Just hearing it, hearing the details, we really know that we do experience that, right? So the emotional residue or strain or of exposure of working with those And guys, make no mistake, this ability is traumatizing. And most of our individuals have other stories and narratives that possess all this other coexisting trauma, the things that they've experienced in their journey. It's just traumatizing for everyone involved. So guys, this is not burnout. Scarily enough, it can kind of coexist with burnout. Compassion fatigue occurs due to exposure on one case. Maybe you heard such a story that it is just hurting you deeply, or it can even be cumulative. That you've heard so many stories that after a year goes by, before you know it, you're starting to feel the trauma effects without actually experiencing the trauma. In other words, we become CRCs or other helpers because we fall in love with the population. We want to help them. We want to save the world. Unfortunately, the same population we serve and love does in essence deplete our energy, not only leaving us with an empty cup, but one, as I stated earlier, is downright dusty. So guys, today I want to look at 6 warning signs. Well, the goal of today's hour and 15 minutes really is to figure out if that's us. If our problem is compassion fatigue, and maybe it's not, maybe it's burnout, or maybe we're doing great and just want to have a plan that we can start to incorporate to prevent us from getting to either of these stages. And if you're there, awesome. This workshop is still totally for you. However, we want to figure out where we are. Remember, correct diagnosis gives us the right accommodation. That's where we are today. So I'm going to break each one of these down, and we're going to get engaged with our phones. Hopefully you guys kept them out. But just a quick overview, we're going to look at these 6. A failure to quote unquote get a life, anger and irritability, fatigue and exhaustion, withdrawing from family and friends, a lost sense of humor, or even a reduced ability to feel sympathy or empathy. So these are 6 of the big warning signs. And we're going to look at each of those in detail. So first of all, a failure to get a life as a warning sign to compassion fatigue. Those of us that are in the helping profession, we are very inclined to help others. We want to give of ourselves. And it's kind of what we live for. I don't think many of us go to school and major in things like rehabilitation or psychology or social work if we are not that person who wants to be on the giving end. That being said, when we're a giver, it's also equally very difficult to ask for help or even receive it if we've asked for it in our personal lives. I hope that resonates with a few of you guys. I know I'm super bad about that. I'll say, oh my gosh, I'm really struggling. I'm so tired lately. And I'll see, my family and my friends and even my teenage daughter, step up and try to do things for me. And I'm like, no, now I feel guilty, right? I feel like a bad mom because I'm not doing the things, or I feel like a bad wife because I'm not doing the things. And then I'll immediately almost push it back out. So this one, guys, I'm going to tell you, super guilty of this, super guilty. Many of us, even beyond our jobs, our 40 hours a week of giving of ourselves freely, also volunteer on the weekends or in the evenings and give more of ourselves, right? We give back to our community. Going the extra mile is common. Honestly, guys, most volunteers come from organizations or companies that are already in the business of serving others. The problem with that is there's nothing left in that giving bucket that actually belongs to us. And we will always end up feeling completely drained, exhausted, just kind of done, right? Feeling like I need a break. For me, one of the things that runs around in my head is I need a vacation. And then I end up going on vacation. By the way, vacations are not part of my my positive self-care plan because the whole time I feel like I'm trying to make my husband and daughter happy. So not part of my plan because I know that I will inevitably keep giving of myself while on a vacation. That really doesn't work. And I end up feeling more exhausted when I come back and feel like I need a vacation from my vacation. Anybody ever say that? I need a vacation from my vacation? Guys, I think it's really common in our world to feel that way. The next one is anger and irritability. So guys, in the early stages of compassion fatigue, we have a tendency to work harder. We kind of think of, I just need to push through this. I just need to keep going. And I see that I have a chat. I'm so sorry. I just noticed that. Oh my gosh, right? Kate just said in the chat box, when you get home from vacation, there's so much work to catch up on. I can't agree more. I mean, guys, I'm in Baltimore right now at a training conference for Clubhouse International. And I know no one is billing, and I know no one is picking up like my job stuff because I don't have an assistant director. It's really just me and staff and then the people we serve. So yes, so you're like already immediately exhausted again. Oh, so true. So Kate, you're probably going to be like me. You're probably not going to see a vacation on your self-care plan. That's okay. I have other plans for us. We got this. Guys, so the anger, oh, sorry, going back to the anger and irritability, bear with my crazy train of thought there. We tend to take on extra stuff. Guys, most of us in our field, especially if we are the really warm, fuzzy, save the world type, we have a hard time setting limits and boundaries. I know with clients, this is something I'm really bad about because in my heart, I think, but if they're really struggling and they need me, I want them to be able to reach me. And I'm going to check my email at ridiculous hours. And if they're reaching out, I'm probably going to respond. Now, not probably, I am going to respond. Just because, we're in the business of that, right? This soon will lead to feeling resentful of others when we realize that we're doing all the work. So before you know it, you're the one answering the emails at 1:00 in the morning because you're not sleeping anyway. So you might as well check on people, right? And then before you know it, you're a little bit irritated, with Becky down the hall who never checks her email after 5 p.m. or on the weekends. Even though you're choosing to do it, you're still like, I'm resentful. She doesn't care as much as I do, right? Anybody guilty of that one? I found my irritability increased as those in my life seemed so incompetent and no one seemed to be able to do the work as I do. So this, personally, this one is completely legit for me too. When I go the extra mile, I get resentful and don't understand why other people don't want to go the extra mile. Other people do see this line of work as a job. I see it as a vocation. I think those are, clearly different things. Like I feel like I am called to help others. I feel like I am designed to help others. So when Becky down the hall, by the way, there is no Becky down the hall. Actually, I'm thinking of somebody, but I'm not using her real name. Doesn't want to work a holiday or work a social or answer emails after 5 or, do anything quote unquote extra. Like I get angry about that, but that's how, maybe that is her self-care. Maybe that's in our plan. But at the same time, I find myself as I'm experiencing compassion fatigue, especially being very irritated by that and wondering why is she not caring as much as I do? Why is she not as competent as I am? Why isn't her heart in this, right? And I bet there are several people that are sitting in the Zoom call right now who are completely feeling what I'm feeling. Fatigue and exhaustion. I hope most of us have been in the field that this is legit too. So this can lead to the end of the day of being completely spent, that you're driving home at 5 or 6 and you're thinking, I just want to go to bed. I don't want to watch a movie with my family. I don't want to play games. I don't want to go to the mall. I don't want to go to the grocery store. I don't want to cook dinner. I just want to go home and go to bed. And you'll notice as the compassion fatigue is really setting in that this will be normative, right? That you're going to want to go home every day and go to bed. That you are so tired every day. And you might wake up in the morning and be like, yes, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm better now. But by the time those hours creep on through the day, that every night is exhausting. And you might see things like, oh, that's just my normal state these days. Guys, exhaustion should not be a normal state for anyone. It shouldn't. I think that I've heard people say, and it's almost heartbreaking to me to think that shouldn't be anyone's normal state. That should never be okay, right? No one should feel that as normal. Even though I had good night's sleep, I worked my normal 8 hours, I would come home exhausted with no energy to do anything. And guys, if you've ever experienced, this, it is every cell of your being. It is emotional exhaustion, it is physical exhaustion. You might even have a headache or just not feel well. Guys, I'll be honest, I went through this not too terribly long ago. And I remember thinking I had COVID like every day. And I'm like, I'm so tired. This can't be normal. I got to have COVID. And I would do a test. No, you're just tired, right? Because I actually felt so exhausted. It was invading every cell of my being. And as you look out those, We all know that person who works 40, 50 hours a week and gets up every morning and runs at 5 a.m. And you think like, what? Like, what are you doing? Like, how are you functional? How on earth are you able to do that? I wish I could do that, right? But we look at that and it feels almost foreign. Like that kind of existence doesn't seem real. It almost seems like a work of fiction and not a reality that's possible for anyone. So hope some of that is resonating with you. No, not really, but I'm sure it is. I don't really hope this on anybody. Withdrawing from our family and friends. Guys, when compassion fatigue is draining your bucket, there is only a desire to be alone and avoid conversations. You know, you're not going to want to go out to dinner with your tight-knit family, your friends. You are just going to want to be alone, right? Maybe watch Netflix. One of my guilty pleasures when I'm experiencing this is going home and watching a series of something totally ridiculous, like Married at First Sight, or anything that's basically a train wreck to watch that makes like, wait, they're worse than me. I'm okay, right? You know, here there's no desire to spend time with others. It actually becomes challenging, and like you just don't even want to do it, right? Even though like in your head you might be able to compartmentalize, hey, I know if I go, I'm going to feel better. But the thought of actually doing that and going is simply overwhelming. It's just too much. You don't want to do that. You know, we're going to neglect that, and our shields can become thick. And we're going to push each other away thinking that this is a way to take care of ourselves when it's not. If you've ever heard me speak before, one of my favorite topics to talk about is the importance of human connection. And, you know, another research crush of mine is Sebastian Junger. He's also very brilliant. And he talks about how human connection is actually the cure for everything, but we miss it. We miss it. He believes it's the cure for addiction, and it's the cure for so many different things. A lot of his research is based in the roots of PTSD, especially military combat veterans. And you know, guys, it's interesting because when we're struggling with things like compassion fatigue, we push everybody away, even though we know that being around people who love us is going to help. And it's like we cannot cognitively separate the two. You know, you can be the smartest person in the world. You can literally write the book on it and still be guilty of it. Speaking from personal experience, I write the books on it, and sometimes I really struggle with this stuff. And I wrote literally 2 books on the topic, but it's still what we, you know, just bounce back to. It's interesting how our brains work and how much we'll choose to struggle. A reduced ability to feel sympathy or empathy. This is number 6 and the last one. And talking back about the CRC Code of Ethics and why you're really all here today. And I see the chat box. I'm so glad it's popping up. Oh, yes. I like to talk to people on the phone versus hanging out with them. You know, I wish I even did that. I honestly just shut down. My older sister lives a block away, and I swear she always knows if I'm struggling with compassion fatigue because I stop walking down the street to see her or hang out with her in the evenings. But even like the idea of pulling up the phone, I think can sometimes feel overwhelming. But a really good point. If you feel like you can't bear the energy to hang out, call. Yes, absolutely. That's such great insight. It's Anis. I hope I'm saying that right. Anis. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I'm trying. I promise. But that's really good insight. Absolutely. So this last one, we're going to talk about number 6. Really drives home the core point of the ethics behind this session. Guys, if you are experiencing compassion fatigue, you are going to be numb and desensitized. You are. In fact, the people you used to care about so much, you know, that same reason you went to college for 6 years and the same reason you took on this job and this lifestyle or vocation or whatever you choose to call it, you are going to be desensitized and you are going to be annoyed. And if you're in this room right now, and I hope you've never been down this path, but you probably will get here eventually, there is nothing worse than being annoyed with the people that you used to care about. And I've been there, that I'm helping somebody and suddenly I'm irritated. Like, oh my gosh, they're just using me because they know I have money to buy them glasses or get their teeth fixed or help them with their housing, or they're not even really interested in this, you know, and we'll suddenly start to feel that way about everyone. And it's a dangerous place to be in the world of the CRC. You become irritated with your friends and family members who complain about what you feel is non-threatening or problematic. like their complaints will seem so minuscule comparison to how bad you feel, right? I ever been there? Gosh, so much of this, even like going back over this is resonating with me today, guys, that like, oh, you're annoyed by that little thing. My older sister, the same one who lives a block away from me, her family is on their way to Disney World right now. And they were complaining about aggressive drivers on the way to Disney World. And I was like, you're going to Disney World and you're complaining about traffic. Seriously, I want to be going to Disney World right now. And I remember like it annoyed me, but so rather than in a normal state, not a compassion fatigue state of Chrissy, I would be like, I would be so much more receptive. Oh yeah, gosh, bad traffic is brutal. I hate it. I drive on the Parkway in Pittsburgh every day. It's brutal and I hate it. But now, in a compassion fatigue state, I might be more irritated that they're going to Disney and complaining about what seems so minute and so insignificant or non-threatening. There can be a tendency as we listen to others that we just want to jump ahead and solve the problem, yet we may miss crucial details that they share with us. So, as somebody who's also a teacher, one of the things I always caution, especially any of my students that are planning on entering the counseling field, is to be very careful that you're actually listening and not rather spending the time determining what your response is going to be. However, you can be the most seasoned CRC, LPC clinician helper in the world, but the second you're compassion fatigued, you're going to go right back into that state where you're like, okay, how can I solve this so they stop complaining, right? I don't want to listen to this anymore. And that's really important. We don't want to jump ahead and solve the problem. We want to listen. Half of the healing is in telling the story, right? We just want to listen. And if there has to be silence while you formulate your response to, or articulate your response, that's okay. Silence has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. And that's something that you'll be doing if you might be in this stage. I remember at this stage once, I actually told someone that I needed to not be needed right now. Like, I need you to not need me right now. And actually articulated that. And they were like, oh, okay. Of course I feel bad because they needed me in the moment. And I literally told them I cannot do that right now. But I mean, sometimes we need to not be needed, right? Sometimes we just need that true reprieve from what our life is doing, right? And I also remember at that time, feeling like my heart was turning to stone. Like I was becoming this non-compassionate person I didn't recognize. And that my bucket was completely depleted to feeling any emotion. Like I was just kind of turned off and done, And I think we all say that like almost loosely, like sometimes in an argument or in a fight, we'll say things like, I'm just done. I'm just done. And if you're saying in your head, I'm just done, you might be experiencing compassion fatigue. Oh, come on, silly thing. There we go. So guys, are you experiencing compassion fatigue? So if you are on your laptop or on desktop, the easiest thing you might be able to do is to click on this link. Otherwise, there is a lot of letters you're going to have to put into your phone, right? But we're going to share with the group in the ways that you think you might be experiencing compassion fatigue right now, or ways that you experienced in the past, because maybe you're thinking back to times where you felt this way versus times that are not so current, or you might be here right now. And guys, it's okay if you are. I'm going to leave the screen up for just a few more moments for anybody that has to actually type it in. I know it's a lot of letters. I'm sorry about that. Let me move. You can move the little bar away that shows our pictures, so that helps too. The link isn't live on my end. Oh no! So you have to type in all those silly letters.
Yeah, this is Kate.
Hi, Kate.
When I hover over it, nothing happens, but it looks like Robin added in a link. Robin, you're the best. Thanks, Robin.
Robin to the rescue. So we can all click on that. Yay, look, I'm doing it too, and I'm the one logged in as it.
It's telling me that the activity is unavailable.
Same here.
So you can go to, if you look on the screen right now, are you still seeing my screen share, or are you seeing my Internet Explorer, or my, what are you guys seeing?
The PowerPoint.
Okay, let me switch my screen. Hold on one second. You share. Okay. So this works too. So now you should be able to see pool.ev.com/Chrissy Whitey Madison 232.
No, I have the same not available link that the other gentleman mentioned.
Okay, if you go to poolev.com/Chrissy Whitey Madison 232, does that work?
I'll try that.
Okay. If not, we'll just talk. Keep me posted, guys.
Got it.
Yay. Oh, thank you, Robin. Awesome. So there is a link to the pooleverywhere.com Chrissy Whitey Madison 232 link that Robin was kind enough to drop in our chat box. Thank you, Robin. Technology. Oh, okay. We've got state limits on computers. And they're not appearing. Has anybody typed one in yet?
I'm typing now.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay.
Can you post the question again in the chat?
Sure. I got you guys. In what ways are you currently or in the past experiencing compassion fatigue? I'm trying to type fast. Oh, I knew I'd have typos. I see fatigue and exhaustion, and they're big. So the way pool works is the more people that put in the same word, the bigger it gets. I was doing this once, and you guys, exhaustion, look up the whole screen. Everybody knew. Give you guys just a few more moments to type in. Oh, there we go. Look at that. I love how these make the coolest little things. Oh, there they get. See how they get bigger? Anxiety, apathy, lacking empathy, numb. Oh, where is my one who eats their emotions? Oh my gosh, yes, me too. I'm so jealous of the people who don't eat. I'm like, give me all the Twinkies. Awesome, awesome. And tired has become our biggest one. Oh, but fatigue and exhaustion are not going down. So let's pull out a couple of these and talk about them. One of you guys, and if you know, of course, you're welcome to remain anonymous, but I like interaction. I hope you guys do too. But a couple of these are really, I would love you guys to give me an example. One of you guys wrote stupid. I'm assuming that you feel stupid or you get stupid whenever you're experiencing this. If that's yours, would you mind elaborating on that?
What I mean by that, Chrissy, is I get so tired, I lose the ability to think. And so I'm trying to process and do stuff, but I can't think it through, if that makes any sense. So I call it being stupid tired, you know.
Gosh, yes.
And it's so frustrating because I'm in the middle of something I need to do, but my brain just stops processing, and I call it stupid tired because everything up here just shuts down, you know. So I have to step away from it for a minute, you know, and wait for my brain to kick in again and then go back to what I was doing. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And tell me how to pronounce your name. We're going to be stuck here for 3 days and I'd like to say it correctly.
Well, you said it correctly. It's Annis. It's like
Annis,
Janice,
it's a
but
beautiful
without
name.
the J. Yeah, you did it perfectly. Thank you.
All right, good. I like to get it right. So, oh my gosh. Okay, so that one resonated with me. Yeah, I get so tired I do dumb things. Yeah, absolutely. So somebody else typed in compassion levels or level of compassion. Would you care to elaborate on that one? Okay, it's all right if you don't want to share. I'll pick another one. So just some interesting things. Would anybody like to share an example of when or now, if you're experiencing it? Would anybody like to share theirs? I don't like to pick on people because I know some of this stuff is very, very personal. I do get that. I really do.
I'll share.
Awesome.
I'm exhausted today. I went to the football game Saturday in Fayetteville. It started at 6. My husband decided he wanted to come back home. That's a 3-hour drive. So we got home at 2 a.m. Got up early Sunday, about 7:30 to get ready for church. And because my husband's a pastor, and did that service and went to visit, someone who's in rehab. So it was a very long day. Had to do my chores and shopping yesterday and, spend some time with my sister for her birthday. And so, start evening just exhausted. But I still got up at 5 a.m., 4 really, to go to the gym today because, if I don't, then I feel bad, like I missed something. And it's supposed to energize me, which it did, but now I've reached my peak and now I'm back down to my low again. And so I've had my coffee, I've had my Celsius, and I need something else. I'm chewing gum because I'm tired. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sleepy right now. I don't know what's wrong with me except pushing myself, doing too much. So yeah.
Oh, I feel that. Like sometimes like I'm so tired and nothing works. And Annis, I'm so enjoying your kitty giving you a kiss. That was like the most cute thing ever. So but no, like, and it seems like nothing works, guys, I'll be honest with you. I'm experiencing a lot of this right now. So this is like perfect timing for me to be talking about it because we'll get through it together. But like, I usually, if I drink a Bang, I am like Chrissy on steroids, but it's like, I'm like, meh. And I was like, okay, something needs to change. Like if like my Bang is not bringing me up on like a high level of Chrissiness, there's something not right with that. So thank you guys so much for participating in that. I feel like, guys, it's all of us, right? It's so much. Let me go to my other screen share. New share. Back to PowerPoint. Share. There we go. Wait. I don't know. Why did it do that? Silly, where we left off, please. Okay. So guys, if you went through all that and none of that resonated with you, first of all, I'm really going to question, are we in the same line of work, right? But you also could be experiencing burnout. Now, I hope you're just compassion fatigued or maybe just tired from lack of sleep. But we need to talk about burnout because it's not trauma related. Burnout is different than compassion fatigue. Compassion fatigue is really tied into existing in a professional or personal world where you are inundated with other people's trauma. I really like to talk about the difference because we are in a professional world, me and everybody in this room, world where we are inundated with everybody else's trauma. But that might not be your issue. Your issue might rather be burnout. And most of us have heard the term burnout. Maybe we have a good understanding of it. Maybe we really don't. Maybe we think we do and we really don't. So I really do want to unpack what burnout really truly is. So burnout is a cumulative process. Cumulative. So basically it is the end result of all the stuff, all the things coming at you, right? It's marked by emotional exhaustion and withdrawal associated with increased workload and what we call institutional stress. And don't worry, I'm going to break all of that down for you guys. So there are 5 stages of burnout. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not completely convinced as a researcher and an academic, that side of my personality, that burnout is completely unavoidable. I think that some people are very fortunate and, they might go 30 years in a career and never have it. But I'm always like very careful if somebody, for example, has a different job every 8 to 10 years, because that just might be their burnout pattern, right? That they really need to do something else. And it doesn't make them a bad person or ineffective or not good at their job. That just might be their pattern. So some of this I'm talking about may hit a little hard. If it does, I do apologize, but it's just definitely something we need to be aware of in order to really employ good techniques moving forward. So the 5 stages. The first stage is the honeymoon phase. This is where we start a job and we love it. We love it. Oh my gosh, I'm helping people every day. The intrinsic motivation is huge. I'm so rewarded. My boss loves me. My coworkers are fantastic. I love it, love it, love it, love it. This is where we have high job satisfaction. We're totally committed to our job. We have tons of energy and we're really creative at work. We want to, start new ideas, new processes, things that are super exciting. The second stage is the onset of stress. This is when maybe you feel the optimism waning a little bit, like, oh, wait, maybe I really can't help everybody. Maybe there are people that aren't here for the right reasons. Maybe this isn't as perfect as I thought it was. And guys, unfortunately, I think we all experience that, right? I mean, nothing's perfect. No workplace is perfect. No lifestyle is perfect. And eventually a little bit of that reality kind of sets in, right? The common stress symptoms, they start to affect you. Maybe you're eating your feelings a little bit at night if you're me, or if you had a particularly rough day, you're not sleeping well, just those little basic things that start to creep in. Stage 3 is chronic stress. This isn't an occasional bad day that keeps you up at night. This is where you have a marked change in your stress levels with much more intense symptoms. You might actually be having anxiety attacks that mirror heart attacks. You might not have slept well in a month. You might not have ate well in a month. Robin, you talked about going to the gym in the morning because if you don't, it doesn't feel right or it feels like you're missing something, right? If you're in level 3, you're not going to care. You're going to miss the somethings, right? It's just going to stop mattering that you're missing the things. Stage 4 is burnout. This is where your symptoms become critical and it becomes very, very difficult to cope with everything. That everything is a stressor, everything's pushing every day. You might find yourself crying frequently or prone to angry outbursts. You're probably bringing a lot home and experiencing issues with your family, friends, your spouse, your children. That's when you know it's rough. And number 5, one of the stages that I don't really hear talked about very often is habitual burnout. And this is significant ongoing mental, physical, or emotional problems. Like how number 5 is happening. The best example in the world I can give is that number 4 happens, you are burned out and that you need to go do something else. So you actually do it. You take the jump, you find a different job, you might even move across the country, you might do something totally dramatic, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help. You're still not okay and you're still struggling. And yes, I see you in the chat bar. I'm sorry, I'm going to respond to this one. Give me as a private message. So give me just a second. Sorry, they asked me something very private. So, okay, sorry about that. So guys, I truly hope that we're looking at these and not in any of these personally, but I mean, I don't know, or even have experienced all those. Maybe you've never gotten to 4. Maybe you okay, 1 and 2, that feels okay. But then you're not going to be someone who's experienced burnout. Where are you in the stages of burnout? Now, guys, I'm going to go straight to the other one because that seemed to work way better. So hold on. Let me switch my share. Okay. So when your pool is active, you can go right back to the same one. It's going to be Chrissy Whiting Madison, 232. So if you go in the chat bar, you can scroll back and get right back to it. And again, the question is, in what ways have you experienced burnout? Where have you been on this metric? You can also do it via text. That's a kind of a cool option. 22333. Stress onset, okay. Thank you, Robin. And think about where you are right now. I promise nobody's tattling on anyone in the room. At least I'm not. Oh, wow. Okay. Got no newbies here in the honeymoon phase. I love how stress has gotten really big. Gotcha, Alex. So it looks like a lot of us are kind of hanging out in the stress onset place and a little bit of tiredness. You know, I can see everybody's smiling faces. Has anybody ever been burned out that they felt like they had to actually switch? Anybody ever been there? Anybody gone that far down that path?
I haven't felt burnout in this job yet, but I was a CNA for a couple years, and by the end of those 2 years, I was definitely burned out in that line of work.
Can I just say CNAs have the hardest job of anybody I've ever known in my life?
Absolutely, yeah.
I have so much respect because it is so hard. My older sister was a CNA in a dementia ward, and literally she had stuff thrown at her that like daily. Oh my gosh, like absolutely horrific storylines. Thank you for your 2 years of service. I mean, that is such a hard job. Anyone else? I know for me, I don't think I've ever gotten like the compassion fatigue stuff resonated with me a lot, but regarding burnout, like I love helping people. I love doing the things I do. So I think I've been really fortunate. You know, I think a lot of my students like to throw away the term burnout with school. I'm totally burned out from school, and I'm like, no, you're not. You wouldn't be in this room right now if you truly were. Good, because the point is we don't want to get there, right? Yeah, absolutely. We can just focus more on the compassion fatigue because I think we're all there. I think that's great, Lisa. Thank you. Fantastic. It's easier to teach this stuff when we're all on the same page. Okay, let me get back out of here and get back on my other one. All right. Okay, so guys, you guys were kind of on the quiet side, so I will have a little bit of room for a Q&A before we go tomorrow. So now that we know where you are, and Lisa, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that we're all like really in compassion fatigue stage. So that's really what, okay. So Lisa asked the question, can one not experience burnout but still be in compassion fatigue? Yes. There are many people that never go past like part 2 and burnout. Compassion fatigue, especially in our line of work, is almost inevitable. So, I mean, 100% yes. So guys, what we're going to do is we're going to explore what self-care is and isn't, and really start kind of honing in our plan. Our plans will come to fruition on day 3, but I know we have some, okay, we're going to lots of questions. Good. So Anna's asked, can you experience a combination of both? Again, yes, because they're not in vacuums. So talking a little bit more about that, you know, I think a lot of us are probably compassion fatigued most of the time, at least on some level. I see a lot of nods. Yeah, I think it's almost unavoidable. But you know, burnout is a little bit more intense, and when you really need to think about making a change. So I think if you are experiencing compassion fatigue and afraid you're on the path of burnout, it's probably going through your head of maybe this isn't the right fit for me. Or has anybody ever had that feeling of being a square peg in a round hole? Like, I just don't feel like I belong here. You might be experiencing a little bit of both. I mean, I definitely ride the compassion fatigue train almost regularly, especially if I'm not practicing my self-care plan, which part of the reason I'm so excited that Robin and Peggy invited me to do this with you guys is that I need to be revisiting my self-care plan. So I'm going to be working with you guys and sharing what I'm doing as well, which will probably help everybody. Okay. Any other questions? Robin, I don't want to end too terribly early because I know that it has to be at least 3 hours, correct?
Yes, we do have 3 hours scheduled, but I think we'll be okay.
Okay. All right, guys. So tomorrow, make sure, if you are like an artsy person for the next 2 days, it might not hurt to have like pretty paper, pretty pens, stickers. If you're one of those people, like I personally like to create something I can put on my wall. Andrew's going, no stickers. I see your face, sir. But you might want to like definitely have it, but definitely have lots of paper and pen to take notes for the next 2 days, because we're going to take a really, really deep dive. The third day, guys, I hope changes your life. When I started applying this stuff to my life, especially the day 3 stuff, it was a game changer for me. It's when I really started to be positive. If you've ever heard me speak before, you might know my story is I wasn't positive and outgoing. I was actually really timid, and I've always been book smart, but I really love to share my empowerment stuff as well. So this is definitely stuff that I've used and I know works, and because of that, I've been sharing it with everybody I can. All right, Robin, anything for our participants? Peggy?
I don't have anything, Peggy.
No, it sounded good to me, and it sounds like you're giving us information I know I can use.
Great.
As
Really
a
useful.
former ER counselor, there were a lot of times I could have used your information and your suggestions when I was a counselor, because compassion fatigue just comes with that job, and there's no way around it. And in
Absolutely.
that whole field.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, y'all, if we're good for today, sorry, y'alls, I did live in Oklahoma for a really long time. So, and I went to school at Arkansas. The y'alls are legit. But I will meet you guys back here, same time, same place, if that is good for you.
Sounds good.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
I'll see
Tomorrow.
y'all tomorrow.
Thank you.
Have a happy day.
You too. Thanks.